Welcome to the 5-time only show. I had a great vacation. My psychiatrist gave me these pills to make me see the glass half full instead of dry like a desert. She told me to take one a day, but she didn't say one pill or one bottle, so I'm topping out at about one bottle a day.
Hey, I thought we discussed this. No pills on set.
No! No!
Give them to
They're
me!
mine! Sorry, we were having technical difficulties. That director is no more. Nation, in 1933, the London Economic Conference met to coordinate an international attack on economics. Unfortunately, FDR chose to opt out of the conference because the US wanted to remain isolated. That's like planning a date with a lady friend, then calling her and telling her you don't want to date anyone right now. Because America pulled out, the economic conference disbanded. Jim?
Hey, so Panama called. They like to join, but they're too poor. And I gave America a ring, and they want to stay isolationists.
What? They're a big world power. They can't just ditch us like that.
I brought my popcorn and soda just to watch America start fights.
Yeah, we can't even do anything without them.
Is there any point in this meeting? Couldn't we just disband?
Yeah, I don't even want to be here.
Due to the Neutrality Acts of 1935, 36, and 37, people could no longer sell or loan anything to fighting countries or legally board their ships.
Make sure to bring that back.
That's illegal.
Come aboard.
No, America!
This was an extremely stupid idea as it hurt both their enemies and their future allies. Folks, in 1933, President Roosevelt formally recognized the Soviet Union. He must have known that Russia would bring forth strong, mighty leaders such as Stalin and Vladimir Putin. Even though Stalin couldn't ride sharks, he did have a pretty badass mustache. Americans lashed out, seething with anger and jealousy of Stalin's mustache.
Soviet Union, I have decided to formally recognize you. I don't actually like your government, but now we can trade. Well, actually, trading with you would be illegal since America isn't allowed to trade with foreign fighting countries. But it's the thought that counts.
What? No! We must stay isolated!
Thanks, I guess. But remember, we will be fighting against you at the beginning of World War II. You better watch your back.
Nation, America incorporated the good neighbor policy in order to have friendly, non-interventionist relationships with Latin America. FDR wanted to be on good terms with the Mexicans in case we ever needed them to jump a fence for us. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
America, World War II was devastating. It killed millions for nothing. If America had stayed in isolation, none of this would ever happen. It doesn't matter if the rest of the world is at war. Even though thousands are dying, we shouldn't care. They're not American. The United States needs to stay within its own borders. The Monroe Doctrine will protect us from war. If you're a true American patriot, join us in voicing against going to war. We encourage you to contact your local senator and tell of your displeasures. This ad is brought to you by the American Isolationist Administration.
Nation, the 66th Economic London Conference occurred in 1933. The goal of this conference was to stabilize exchange rates, which would be essential for world trade. I mean, why not just lower the tariffs? They're higher than I am right now. The conference failed when Roosevelt took out American delegates. It's not like you can run the conference without America. In other news, conference passed the Tidings-McDuffie Act, which provided freedom for the Philippines, but not for the benefit of the Filipinos. No. We were only looking out for our own welfare. But in all seriousness, we just wanted to avoid the political situation in Asia. Speaking of politics, the US formally recognized the Soviet Union, and we are now extending the hand of diplomacy towards the Bolshevik regime. Congrats on being recognized, Russia. Also, we decided to be better neighbors to the Latin American countries in the South.
Gracias, amigos!
Well, I hope this lowers the cost of my Mexican drugs. Folks, the Reciprocal Trade Agreement was recently passed. This act gives FDR the power to lower existing tariff rates by as much as 50%, as long as other countries are willing to do the same. How could they? Now, I can't charge 60% on imported supplies. This has impacted me so much. How can a rich philanthropist, such as myself, live in such conditions? I had to give Alfred a day off. I can't live without Alfred.
Where are the imports?
What? Why do you need to know?
Because I'm Batman.
Nation, as you know, there has been a rebellion going on in Spain, and Washington has continued official relations with the loyalist Spain. However, Congress has encouraged Roosevelt to end these relations. Let's see how other news stations have covered this news.
It's about time we ended relations with Spain. Yeah, they could have plunged us into war. And remember, kids, Jesus and Santa Claus are both white.
Can you believe these guys? They could have plunged us into war. Fox News is right. Abandon the Spaniards! Folks, the Lend-Lease bill was recently passed. This bill allows America to loan weapons and supplies with the intent of getting them back after the war. Now folks, this is doing everything short of declaring war. Next thing you know, we'll be fighting German U-boats in the Atlantic, and you know who you can blame for that? Roosevelt. That's who. Then our American soldiers are dying in foreign countries that don't concern us. So down with Roosevelt, no third term, vote Wilkie. Nation, on this show we typically make jokes about history because, let's face it, America hasn't had the greatest reputation. Today we are reporting on a series of unfortunate events all revolving around World War II. Black Sunday, December 7th, 1941, a dark day in America's history. With Japan's procrastination of negotiating with the United States, it was hardly seen coming. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, jeopardizing and ending thousands of lives. As a result, America decided to be fully involved in the war. At the beginning of the war, there were controversial opinions about whether or not the U.S. should enter the war. But only 4 days after the attack, December 11, 1941, America as a whole was overwhelmingly prepared to avenge the country. The outcome of this destruction? America's patriotism, unity, and a vengeful point of view on the new war. Get Japan first were the words of the people immediately after the attack, but Roosevelt knew that in order to prevent the Allies' defeat, the U.S. would have to focus on the protection of Britain and attack Germany. American patriotism skyrocketed in both good and bad ways. The good which came from the entrance to the war was that the economy boosted tremendously by factory workers, production of weaponry, and for the war, rationings of gas, rubber, and passenger cars, along with the other considerably non-essential items. Another benefit was the working woman. 15 million men went to war, and 6 million women went to work. But Americans, hot-headed and patriotic, were very enthusiastic about taking Japan down and ensuring that no Japanese Americans were plotting against them by placing many of the 110,000 citizens in concentration camps, all due to the hysteria caused by Pearl Harbor. This event overall was a tragedy as both American and Japanese lives were lost. On the bright side, by 1988, the American government formally apologized and paid each camp survivor $20,000. The attack on Pearl Harbor was depressing and affected many people, but on a lighter note, here's this cat video.
Very appropriate fashion later today. I'm Nicole DiDonato, live in East Town, and those details coming up.
America, we must go to war against the warmongering Japanese. They must know our wrath. No one messes with America and gets away with it. We must protect our own people by defying the Monroe Doctrine. The Axis powers have asked to get their butts handed to them. This ad was paid for by the Administration of Anti-Isolation.
Hello! Today I have with me an average Joe Schmo from Averageville. Very average indeed. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Me too. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Average Joe Schmo, and I grew up in Averageville, USA.
I've been there.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city.
Yeah.
My dad worked in a factory.
What factory?
An automobile factory.
I have a car.
That's nice.
It's so great.
So do we. Anyway, my mom, she works at home. You know, she's just a housewife, but
Good.
she takes care of my little sister. So whatever. And
Well, let me stop you right here and ask you, how do you feel about the war?
well, at first I was like, we should not go to war. I mean, you know, America just needs to just back off and let everybody be happy, you know, peace. And, you know, we're all brothers, and
I feel like you're my brother
we
already.
shouldn't kill our brothers and sisters all around the world. Peace. But then, a few days ago, Pearl Harbor, you know, I mean, now I'm just like, let's go to war! America! War!
War. Yeah. War. Okay. Well, now that America is going to war, how is that going to affect you and your family?
Well, since my dad's working at a factory, you know, he's probably, I mean, he's the man of the house, so he's probably going to have to go fight, which means my mom's going to have to, you know, get a job.
No,
Probably.
that's
no.
no.
I know.
That's not okay.
We have to eat. We have to support ourselves.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
If that means your mother is getting a job, then no, you don't have to eat.
She's not very happy about it either. And that also means that, you know, my little sister is going to have to go into one of those daycares that's being set up by the government, which, I mean, that's fine.
Okay, well, how do you feel about Pearl Harbor? Obviously you're angry about it, but anything else going on?
Well, they're finally putting all those Japanese Americans in the concentration camps.
How does that make you feel?
They deserve it. They're Japanese. They're just going to conspire against us. It doesn't, I mean, is that even a question? I'm happy about it.
It's not like they're innocent.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Even though they've lived in America their whole lives.
Yeah,
They're guilty.
of course. We can't risk that. We are America. We will fight.
America.
America, taste the freedom.
I'll pass on that. So what do you know about the war besides that America is participating in it now? Outside of that.
Well, I know that we are going to win. And that's all that matters. America's gonna win! America! We're gonna kick butt!
Okay, well that is all for today. Tune in next time for the weekly installment of the X Time Only show. Thank you. Alright, thank you for watching the 5-time only show. Tune in the next 2 weeks to see the next 6-time only show.
I'm here with the fight the militia deserves. We're not the one it needs. So join us next week for the 6th Time Only Show. This is Batman, signing off.